Still not. Welcome, everyone. This is the informational section on the Advanced Games Projects class next, which means this is the start of it all. And the goal of this informational meeting is to try and tell you a little bit about how you should prepare your game design doc and your presentation and your teams for winning this contest. The Advanced Games class starts with a contest. And there's a lot of details. I think Powen has made some slides for the details. But where this gets you is basically a year-long, it's over a year long, isn't it? We start now and you will finish in the next May. And it will be an experience unlike anything else you'll take at USC. At USC, most of your classes are you have lectures and you learn things in class and you write them down and they give you tests. In this, we're going to simulate what it's like to produce a game in a large team in industry. So I think our teams this semester are, what's our smallest one, 20?
We'll get there. 12 internal, 28 including externals.
Okay, 20. And one of our teams is what, 55, 60?
60.
60.
Yeah.
And what you'll learn over the course of the year is how to do cross-disciplinary collaboration. You'll have game designers from interactive media, engineers from computer science in the Viterbi School. You'll have artists from all over, from Laguna College of Art and Design, Atlantic University, Noman School, maybe Otis, maybe other places. And there's sort of two goals of this. There are a lot of goals of this class. One is to make it so that you are comfortable working and making week-to-week progress working on your game. And it's a game that no one ever has seen before. It is not Call of Duty Ghost 2. Although I suppose you could propose that. And look, we have alumni from USC Games on those games. I think 50% of the engineers on Black Ops 2 are from here. Okay, so our students go off and make games that make $1 billion. So there's a number of things that are part of this contest, but where it's going to get you is to demo day, and we have demo day at the end of fall and at the end of spring. And at the end of fall, we've turned demo day into an event where we bring in 20, 25 companies with hiring tables. And we invite about 1,000 people to come, and about 600 come, and we try to stuff them all into the gallery over in the Spielberg lobby. And we have food and everything. It's quite an exciting event because industry people walk by, they play your games, they meet you, they see your poster, and they do interviews. I think we typically get about 200 interviews to get done during that demo day, which is an amazing amount. Demo day in May is, we put it into graduation week. In fact, we usually put it on Wednesday of graduation week. The idea being that it's like a celebration of what you have built. We put it on the Norris Theater stage. You do your demo live on stage, and everyone sees it. We invite 1,000 people. Again, 600 people come. There are 400 seats in Norris. There's a lot of standing people. And it's a great presentation. We have all of the teams go up, and we take their pictures, and it's a pretty great celebration of how you spent the last year plus. We have people bring their parents to demo day in May as well, which is also okay. Anyway, that's kind of the goal. This process helps you get a portfolio piece that gets you a job, or it tells you that you don't want a job in the game industry. You want to do something easier, like become a chemical engineer or electrical engineer. You're going to go back and learn that math that you didn't learn, so you can go do those. Just because it's too hard. Game industry is hard, and this is the best simulation of the game industry at any other university. In the world. Some other universities have events called Building Virtual Worlds, in which games are built in teams of 5, and they spend 3 or 4 weeks on that game, and they switch to a different game, and they switch to a different game. And at the end of the semester, they have a demo day to show off those little tiny games. Okay, we don't do that. You know, because we have better weather than that. Anyway, so that's kind of where we are. Scott, Leo.
Hello. One of the things that I think is one of the great attractors about this program, voted #1 Princeton Review for 4 years?
4 years in a row.
4 years in a row,
March 1st is coming up.
absolutely.
Second 5.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun. We've made the payoff. Yeah, that's fun. But one of the things that
Bloom tipped it over.
I want to mention, and I've worked at Electronic Arts, Oddworld, THQ, is that you get to work on your idea while you're here. It is such a rush to come up with your own idea and see it change over the course of a year into something that is kind of an organic team idea. Getting a job outside of this school, you will do probably someone else's idea at least for the next 10 years. And there's nothing wrong with that. Making something look really good that is an established bit of merchandise, nothing wrong with that. But while you're here, you work on what you want to do. And that is such a great opportunity to show what's in your head. Because the definition of what a video game is so varied within this program. We, today, just on our rounds, saw mobile games that look like they have that kind of quirky cartoon drawing, sort of the Adult Swim look, all the way to these really epic games, that, AAA games where you're fully immersed in it, and you swear it comes from a pro studio, all the way over to games that are trying to help and have these wonderful altruistic desires to help children as well and to educate. So just within our program right now, there's such a variety of different games that what constitutes a game is really up to you. And I believe me, as a veteran of the video games, I've done them all. It's such a thrill to have people come to you and say, why not? Because you work with people that go, man, we're going to use the same engines last year. Man, don't worry about it. I love people coming to me and go, my idea is ducks. What do? They roll on people, rolling ducks. I'm like, go with it. I love these ideas. So just please pay attention to the format, but know that behind it, we completely support whatever it is your guys' ideas are. But be passionate about it. Please do not second guess what people will like. Do what's in here. Because at 2 in the morning when you're working on it, that's what's going to get you through it. So be honest about what it is you want to do as well. So please do pay attention to the format and the formality, and keep your own love alive in this as well.
All right. You have some slides?
Yes.
You want to go through them, or?
I'll go through.
We'll let Poe in. Poe in is like the fourth instructor. We're missing Larry Melamed today. He's hanging out at Oculus VR, trying to be Chief Operating Officer today. So, Poe in.
Can everyone hear me?
Use the mic.
Working? Alright, so just to go back, the group collaboration, so you really have between 12 to 20 internal in your group typically, and then you recruit the 20 to 40 plus from outside of the school. So that's from SCAD, LCAD, other art school, and so on. And that's why we're going to talk about this today. So I'm going to do this part.
Oh, yes.
The goal of this class is really to just build the best student game in the world. So we want you guys to do that. And we have some past games that you can look at. So these links, the slides will be shared afterwards, so you guys can just take a look later. And so we'll be here talking about AGP next. So the typical timeline is this spring is the pitching process. After that, we'll follow with pre-production for those that get selected. Then you do a full production, followed by the spring where you kind of just polish and add additional content. So you guys really care about the pitch process, and this is a pitch timeline. So today is the first session. We did it earlier than usual, so you guys have more time to prepare and know about what's going on. And last year we did the proposals. They were due during GDC. That wasn't cool, so this is after, March 26th. That's the most important day. The other important day would be after the proposal will announce the finalists, and then the finalists will have to actually give an oral presentation on April 25th. And we also have a production seminar that we want the finalists as well as the winners to attend, so that it kind of prepares you and ease you into advanced game next year. So, the proposal. This is the first challenge you must overcome. So, it's Wednesday, March 26th, midnight, and that we will ask you guys to drop your proposals in this Google Drive. And what's really required is just a folder with your proposal in a PDF format. You can also submit any additional materials necessary, so we'll go over that. The proposal, 3 to 4 pages of your gameplay and the control, so we kind of know what it's about. 1 to 2 pages about the innovation, what's special about it, what's interesting about it. And finally, you want a team, right? You don't want to just be the one that's like, I have this great idea, but no one believes in me, so I'm pitching it alone. You want to get a team and get people to work with you on your pitch. So the additional materials that you can put into your folder could be anything from concept art, videos, interface sketches, all these stuff. Whatever that brings your idea to life. You can act it out, live action, I don't care, right? As long as it sells your game the best way possible. And we also have an example of past submissions. So here's Nevermind, one of the advanced game, the design doc for it. And we also have a few past submissions from other games that you can find in that Google Drive over there. So the pitch. So after you do a proposal, we'll announce a finalist, and then you have the pitch. That's your final challenge. The date right now, tentatively, is Friday, April 25th. We'll probably do it on Friday between afternoon, because that's when we can get industry judges to come. And location is most likely going to be here, but to be determined. And we'll also try to set up practice day for you guys to come in, make sure your stuff will work and stuff like that. And the evaluation committee. Last year was the first time we got like Tracy and Sam, folks from Interactive Media that's not part of the class, to be industry judge. And we also were the first time that we tried to get student leads, so we would likely to expand upon that this year. So we'll have a diverse cast of judges to judge your game. And that is why, what the professor said earlier, don't just try to, make a game that appeals to a certain person, because there's all kind of, some people like narratives, some people like gameplay, and you just need to try your best to reach all that. And this is the general evaluation criteria. We will also have the process more finalized later, but basically, whether you have an interesting game, your team, whether it's strong, whether you have good leads, and innovation appeal, what's different about this game? Because you can pitch Call of Duty Ghosts, and we'll say no on 2 accounts. 1, it's not innovative, right? It's already been done. Second, scope, right? It's too big a project for a student team to tackle. And so yeah, more details later. So now you know the general process. What do you do? Here are some kind of guidelines for what you guys need to do between now and the proposal. So concept, recruiting, and so on. Concept. So you probably have a great idea, but because this is going to be ultimately a project that you work with other people, don't get fixated on the idea, because it's going to change. You also want to talk to the professors, talk to past team leads, current team lead, alumni, etc. So your idea is going to change, and you can accept that. Also, like they said earlier, this is the opportunity for you to try something very different, right? So Larry said to pimp out Connect 2.0, so Connect 2.0, go try to figure out something interesting with it if you can. If not, don't bother. And scope is really important because it's very easy to say, I want to make World of Warcraft, but it's going to be different because of this and that. And the first thing is, can you make World of Warcraft? So keep in mind the scope, whatever cool ideas you have, make sure that if it's within the scope and it's something doable. On the other hand, every year we're seeing students being able to tackle on more and more, so convince us that you can do that. And because it is a game made by a large team with people from design, from engineering, you want to make sure it's a game that's something worth doing for all the people involved, right? You don't want to do a game that's like, we'll make a very interesting narratives game where there's no engineering involved, because then what are the engineers going to do in your team, right? So maybe you need to also think about interesting innovations in terms of telling narrative through a technical standpoint. And yeah, make sure whatever cool idea you have, people understand it. Otherwise, we won't get it, and you won't get selected. Okay, so for regroup, we made this Facebook group called AGP Next, And what we want is for you guys to use this to find other people that share your vision, pitch your ideas, get feedback, etc. We'll also invite people from LCAS, SCAD, and other schools to use this. So one of the things is we want to get more involved with the artists from early on, because that's like our biggest point. And if you come to them later and it's like, we have this super cool idea, and you guys are just gonna make barrels for us, and whoever asks us we want, that probably wouldn't work as well, right? So we want to invite them and get involved in the creative brainstorming process. And also, we don't want everyone here to send out emails to all the mailing lists and say, join my cool game, because then people are just not gonna look at them. So try to keep it here, and yeah. And so team, find your core team. You want to have a team that really works with you, otherwise, if you pitch alone, people don't understand your idea, it's gonna tear your team apart. And setting out efficient workflow so you can make that proposal and demo, prototype, whatever you need for pitch day, and just collaborate. For the leads, this is stuff that we require you to do and have. So the leads must be able to commit for a full academic year, so fall and spring of next year. If you can't do that, if you're thinking about bailing out, then maybe let someone else be the lead. You can still be a creative part of it, or engineer, whatever, but don't be the lead. And at minimum, we're looking at those 4 positions, and no single person will be both lead engineer and lead artist and lead designer, because that doesn't tend to work well. So finally, feedback, iterate, you guys know this is what we practice in school, yes.
Can the team lead be one of those?
Yes,
Your question.
it usually is.
Yeah,
That's what I like, the
Yeah.
lead designer can also be the team lead.
right.
Maybe a visionary at some point.
At the same time, you don't necessarily need to have a team lead, and that's why that's not a required title.
Sure.
Anyway, so iterate, you guys know this. And so this is what, so setting up externally, we want you guys to join this Google group so that we can just send emails to this Google group and not spam everyone, also so we don't miss anyone. You can just join by going to that website and click join wherever, and we'll do some other stuff to keep track of the teams. And don't worry about writing it, because we'll get the slides, or I guess.
Well, too late now, they wrote it.
I'll wait till you finish. Yeah. So, good? Alright, so internally, we recommend you have these kind of Google groups. The recommended is more for later, but you wanna have one where we can reach all your team members, one we can reach the leads. And the other one just very useful when you're working with a team, people come and go, so sometimes you just wanna reach all your art guy, and you don't wanna be like, okay, I think Bob is still on my team, just send name, your cool game name, -art. And finally, some advices and warnings. So, I try to not have too many advice beforehand because of the first advice. Everyone has different opinions, so really take it with a grain of salt. If you ask me about stuff, I'm gonna tell you stuff about gameplay, because that's what I like to hear, what I like to see. If you ask Scott, maybe it's more about art, right? If you ask about Professor Zaida, he's gonna be, make it look really cool, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so everyone's gonna have a different idea, so what you really wanna do is make sure, especially given such a diverse team that you have, that you try to meet all those different areas, right? So it's not like, this thing is the best engineering thing ever, and it has squares, right? So that doesn't work. But yeah, listen to what everyone has to say and just try to figure out what works best for your game. And the same applies to your pitch/game. So because you have a bunch of people, 20, 40 plus, whatever, working on your game, that they will have different opinions. So you need to be prepared to lose some creative control. I have students that told me that they think thesis might not necessarily be a good thing here, just because they have a very particular vision, and sometimes it's very hard to get all your team to agree to your vision. That's not to say thesis doesn't work. There are plenty of thesis projects, that's also advanced. But you need to make sure that your team agrees and that they feel comfortable where they are. And so yeah, the other caveat is you can have, we want innovation, we don't want you to just make a Call of Duty game, but at the same time, you don't want to constantly change your game direction, because then your engineers or whatever team is going to be very unhappy when demo day comes and they're like, none of my stuff made it into the game, this sucks, right? So you want to do all that innovation and creative design and figure that out as early as possible. And the third point, leading is hard and not for everyone. just because you have a super cool idea doesn't mean you have to be the one to actually do it, right? You don't have to be the one managing. Maybe you don't like managing. So have someone else worry about that. And it's advanced, which is not really a tip or advice I realize, but because it's an advanced game, we're gonna hold you to a higher standard. We want you to have something awesome in terms of art, engineering, design, everything. You can't just be like, last week we did a lot of concept art and we didn't do any engineering. That's not cool. So lastly, if you're thinking about taking your game to commercialize it at all, do your company contract and all that good stuff right now rather than later, because it will be a pain doing that later. And typically, we only have 3 advanced games that got commercialized. So that would be like Dance Pad, Divergent Ship, and
Misadventures of PB Winneball.
yes, the classic. And so, what a lot of the teams do actually is that they have a contract where, like, let's say, Quarrel Below, they have something like 2% owns the IP, or 2% has the rights to the IP, so that they can sell it for the team. And if they make money, everyone shares it equally. So that way it's fair, and they can be the one that take the project to the next level and hire a new team. Otherwise, when you're trying to sell your game in the end, it's like, do you have signature of everyone on your team? No, sorry, we don't want to talk to you, right? So you want to get that sorted out now. But for the most part, advanced game is for you guys to, do something cool and not necessarily commercialization, and for everyone to get jobs, right? That's why they just said we split it evenly, no matter how much work you do. So for that, there's some other leads you can talk to and whatnot. You can ask me about that. And here's a list of the professors involved in the class, and I'm gonna bring it back to them for give you additional advices.
Why do I even use this? Hi. So, one of the things I like to share is stuff that I learned. When I came from Oddworld, I was so used to doing modeling, texturing, rigging, blah, 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 that I had a very small company mindset of, I cannot let my team see me sweat, and I can do everything. And I was incredibly wrong, because the best managers that I really admired, a guy named Mike Dietz, that I got the chance to work on, he was in Neverhood, and he's doing his own thing now. I got to work with him at THQ. He was a guy that would delegate. First of all, he knew someone's weakness, but he was cool about it, and he then discovered their strength. And that will not be apparent to you on the first pass with teams. But those of you who's wanting to be managers and at the head, there is responsibility of very politely assimilating everything that's out there, waiting a minute, and then assimilating the layer underneath. And he was very incredibly talented and unflappable, meaning everything was like this. Okay, well let's do this, and here's the step, while stuff's on fire. He didn't go, oh my God, you got, no, it's not like that. There was never a panic per se. And I was a little bit guilty of that because I worked with a Frenchman at Oddworld, and he was always on fire. And I admired his passion. He's a great guy. Christophe Chagavot. And I liked his passion, but how you say things and how you communicate is a different skill set as well. You have when you're in a position, you can control the ebb and flow of the overall feel of things, and that is to be contended with. If you see the title is sexy and you want it, nothing wrong with that. Just understand it has these certain responsibilities of like getting stuff done and just being cool about it as well. Secondly, you don't have to have all the answers, but you should be very used to milestones. And I do this in the mobile games class that I teach as well, that your prototyping phase, in my opinion, should be bereft of cool art. And like really engaging, mesmerizing, hypnotic, now that I put it in, I don't want to take it out art. Because prototyping is very serious business. It should be built to see if it works. It should not be built to stay. And your play testing gets in there, and you make changes, and you listen to the people, and you don't call them fools for not getting your idea. You want to go, oh, I didn't understand that. Now that it's together, I see where this game's actually going. And then stuff really clicks. And you need to be very aware of that, because otherwise you'd be missing out on the beauty of what that game can be. So It is an art form we're trying to teach people. Everyone's different. Laird has a lot of experience in that with Activision and other places. I mean, really heavy stuff. I've done managing as well. And just realize this is about getting your game together with prototyping fast and seeing where it goes. So there's a little bit of letting go as well.
Something to add.
Yes.
So on that note, prototyping can be a very tricky thing. Like Scott mentioned, on some aspects, you just get so in love with that prototype that you don't want to like prototype further. That's exactly what prototype is not supposed to be. The other thing is, sometimes you can prototype something very quickly, and then you will think you can achieve more. Your scope will just expand and blow out because you'd say like, oh, in 1 week I got this guy to like do this character control thing. I got doors to open. I got these guys to jump and various mechanics and AI working in Unity 3D, right? Like you got a prototype done in 1 week. So you will now think on this same pace. If you plan out your whole game, it's totally going to fall down because the prototyping speed is not the final polish speed. That's the biggest thing we see every year when games come in. Some games like prototype really fast and they like blow out their scope, and then ultimately they realize they have to like cut it down like half if they want to have a polished game, because otherwise everything is going to have the same prototypey feel to it from start to finish. So that's a big thing, and I just want to emphasize again and again, leadership above everything else is about execution. It's not about you knowing the most or you having like the badass skills in doing engineering or design or whatever. You need to get things done. And you need to get things done from 20 other designers under you, 20 other engineers under you. So execution is far more important than actually how much engineering or design you know. Do you know how to execute a big game project? Okay, like obviously you're all in a school, you're all learning, but this is where you gotta go find mentors, find previous students who have done it before, talk to their leads, and ask them, hey, what exactly does it mean to actually execute a game from an engineering standpoint? Oh, we need version control. We want different people to work on different branches and integrate at this time and that time. Don't wait for integration later. Okay, what does it mean to be a lead designer? Oh, lead designer means you need to give ownership to your other designers in the team, make sure that they can bubble up with some nice ideas, and then like even it out and have this vision. Like that's what you're responsible for. You need to make sure that your game goes along that initial vision that you wanted to do, like that track, but not force down certain things from there. You just want to make sure that the ideas that comes and bubbles up from the other designers, whether it fits this vision or not. So that's the better approach to take versus thrusting down certain things like, I want this thing done, please go and do it. That's wrong. You're supposed to say, okay, this is the vision, go experiment and see if it fits into the vision, guide them towards that vision and that track, and get things executed. Same thing for art. You allow an artist to be creative and come up with some new cool things, but you need to know what the theme of your whole art piece is going to be. Okay, this is how our art style is. It's going to be cartoonish. It's going to have these colors. It's going to have this and this. And then, guide them towards that, focus point.
Wow. Questions? Yeah.
It is kosher to like be on another team but still pitch your own project just to see what happens.
Yeah, but try and avoid the following. Everybody that's on your pitch is also on the other pitch. Because that's silly. You should focus on the one that you have the greatest passion for, and say, this is the one I want. I mean, the hardest thing for us to say no to is a fully app team that has an amazingly great idea that everyone on the team is passionate and there's a fully app team there. It's hard to say no.
Would you say a lead cannot be in two lead position in different projects? Lead for project A, lead for project B?
I would say be on the team of the game you want to be on. I think that's the best message I can have. Because if your pitch doesn't work, you'll get on another team. Okay, it's not that big. It's gonna work. Yeah.
So for this initial pitch, I guess that we have to turn into you guys, how big are the teams usually? Like how many people are you kind of expecting for this initial?
Well, for the initial game design doc, our expectation is that all the lead positions are there, and you have some additional folks as well. And you got some nice concept art in that document showing what you're talking about, and you also touch the relevant prior games that have been built. Which is it's going to be like this game over here, but with his slant, different slant. Yeah.
How available are you gentlemen for advice throughout this process?
Yeah, I'm available typically afternoons, you know, once about 3 o'clock
But
on.
that's not inappropriate for me to like come meet with one of you guys and ask you
Yeah,
questions.
it's
about
okay, it's okay to come,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Just a little storm warning, don't just like appear in my office.
The only thing that is, you know, I have classes, and then I usually try and run to the swimming pool and swim 2,000 meters, and then I go back to my office and eat my lunch.
Can I come bother you in the swimming pool?
Well, only if it takes me 41 minutes to do 2,000 meters. So if you can keep up with that, you're welcome to meet me there. All right, I'll raise you.
You only need 30.
I'll raise you. No.
Okay.
Anyway, I do that just for personal life health thing. The pool is only open 11 to 2, so you know I try and go there.
Yeah, email the professors in general.
Yeah.
I have found the best results come from people that actually stay on this and want to learn, because that to me shows a hunger and a passion and a
Yeah.
desire to sort it out. So I mean, it's my job. I love doing that. So
Yeah.
all we ask is a little, hey, can I meet you at this hour in your office?
Sure.
Yeah.
What's important for Scott and Laird and I is that you have a great time in this class and you build the game of your passion, and that it leads to you getting a great career into the game industry, and that you know how to behave once you get there. And so, like, if you see the presentation I give about USC games, it's probably 75% of it is pictures of people who've gone off and done fantastic things in the game industry. And I mean, to me, the greatest joy is that our students succeed. Okay, this is about you guys, as opposed to what we are up to. You had a question?
Do all of your team leads have to be registered for the course?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You know, it holds their feet to the fire, right? And if they're not registered, they may just flake out for you when midterms come up and toward the end of the semester or when they get a job. So, no, you want them in there. Yeah.
And in this prototyping slash pitching phase, would it be important to start finding industry mentors and advisors?
Yeah, I mean, if you can get industry mentors into your game design doc, that'd be awesome. In fact, if you can write your game design doc fast enough such that you can get your industry mentor to at least do a read or a talk through of it with you, that's greatly helpful.
If you can add any sort of legitimacy to it by bringing as much of a complete package without over detailing it. Here is the small prototype of basic jump mechanics. Here's the little plumber jumping on the blocks. You don't have the pounding the head against the brick or the going down the tubes, just the platforming bit, and you've got blurbs on it. Some people think overkill will impress us. Please don't.
What about if we're rolling this forward from the intermediate game?
If you're what?
If we're rolling that from our intermediate game into advanced game?
Can I speak about that? So that's okay. Just keep in mind that intermediate games should have very different scope. So then your scope should be changed appropriately for the advanced games.
I see.
I mean, you know, that's actually a good question, because we had I remember one time in the past, we had an intermediate game that actually won the pitch. It won everything. You know, it was going to be one of the ones built in the next year. And in the very first day of the class, we actually have you present your game design doc and your team and the PowerPoint in front of all of us here. And that guy came in and he goes, "I finished the game in intermediate last year. There's nothing more to do." So we had to quickly get a replacement game. Okay, so that's what he means about having more scope.
One bit of personal advice that I love. If you can bake down the story to a paragraph,
Yeah, that's key. And if you have the elevator pitch ready, which is, you know, it's a game about passion and building games. I don't know. One thing I hate is come with a good title and elevator pitch and, like you said, the paragraph. Because we don't want to see a game design doc that comes name of the game, right? imagine, and you might actually start out by trying to, get an artist to draw you, what would the box art look like for this game? Try and talk to your concept artist to come out and say, this is going to be about this and that, all right? And then that's a good way to sell it. Your opening slide is, here's what the box looks like. And it's got all of the pieces of the game there invisible. And if you're going to make a game called Bloom, your main character should be named Bloom.
Any other questions?
Questions?
Okay, so if no one has question, we have some leads and people from before that could answer your, talk to you about if you were going to pitch. Yeah. Or just stand up, actually. Could you guys stand up?
Yeah. Or even other current members of the team.
Alright, so,
We're just blocking.
alright, so go talk to the different leads and ask them about their process, because they'll probably give you a very different perspective from what we have given. So, yeah, that's about it.
Jordan, you wanna talk to me and I'll give you a perspective.
All right, thank you.